This is Immigrant Podcast with Robinson.
Welcome everybody to the Immigrant Podcast with Robinson. Today I'm very happy to have my friend Alex Miranda with me. Welcome to the show, Alex.
Thank you very much for having me here. I deeply appreciate it.
Very good, very good. Thank you. Everybody, Alex is a globetrotter. He's been around basically the entire world, all the different continents and regions of the world. He's a sports lover. He's got an amazing, a great personality. And if we add to all that, he also works for our Canadian government. Would you like to expand a little bit more on that, Alex?
Thank you. Well, I won't be too long because when you say government, sometimes it sounds very boring. I work as a manager and senior policy advisor for Public Service and Procurement Canada, which is the organization that is in charge of all the procurement for the whole government, including the national defense. Vaccine initiatives, which is now what we always talk about, and among other things, all the purchasing nationally and internationally with offices abroad as well is the one I'm working with right now.
That's a big responsibility.
It is.
And for sure, I think there's a mindset out there of people wanting either to go work for the government or to work for the private sector. You've been in both worlds. What are the benefits? What are the drawbacks to work for one and the other?
Well, in my career, as you know, like I had the blessing and the benefit of being in both worlds. So if we start with the private sector is kind of faster pace, and you usually have better salary. According to my experience, my career, it doesn't happen to everybody. You tend to have more financial benefits in terms of salary. However, your life and work balance is a little bit disturbed. In my case, I was working in international sales for the aerospace corporations, and I had to travel a lot, which I love it, and I loved just bumping in the plane and going to places, but it takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of effort, and the level of accountability as an employee is immense. So one thing is that, you know, when you work in this kind of environment and the economy crashes, or like, you know, the economical indicators are low, are not convenient, or we didn't hit the target, or so your job is on the line. Unlike the government offers you, government of Canada, either like federal or provincial, give you some kind of stability. However, less like financial money, but which is in the end, it basically balance when you guarantee your pension, your vacation, and always and also, which is the most important for me, is the work and life balance. The switch is difficult because you're going from traveling a lot and not necessarily being on a 9 to 5 on a daily basis to go like to the government, to depending where you work, of course, to go and being a basically a bureaucrat, 9 to 5, 8 hours a day, and it's a big adjustment. So, in the terms of like, you know, of the blessing, I'm very proud of being a federal employee, because you see, it's tangible what you do for Canadians. For example, this rollout of vaccine, how successful we've been. I'm very proud of the organization I work with that, because was a little bit bumpy in the beginning, but now, like, you know, having 80% of almost 80% of Canadian, at least with one dose, is the result of a good procurement strategy that we have experienced the past 4 or 5 months. So this is pretty much the difference. And of course, like, you know, working in the government, you kind of guarantee your pension. As I said before, you work your hours, you depending on the position, you can do the overtime is retributed either on time or metallic and or money. And yeah, like you guarantee your life and work balance better than working in the private sector.
Very good for that explanation. I think it was very deep. And what is the process that people actually need to go through if you want to start working for the government? I know it's long. It's not the same as when you apply to the private sector where you just send a CV, you expect for a recruiter to give you a call back or someone from HR internally in the company. How long is the application process? I've talked to you before. It takes sometimes even days to fill out the forms, the applications. And then I believe you also have multiple interviews, but you've been there, you've done that. Let us know. How does it go?
The federal government is public, and transparency is a big thing. And one of the reasons that the process is so lengthy is to guarantee transparency, and to provide opportunities to Canadians and to all Canadians to have the chance to participate or be part of the competition. And the first step is like seeing the advertisement, going into the application process, fill out the questionnaire, and just tag the visible minority, your experience. Use STAR model to fill out the application, and try to comply with the statement of merit criteria that any given department is looking to fill. So the second step is that application is screened. So if you comply with the first initial statement of criteria, you screen in and you basically wait for an interview, which is translated into a test, into an exam to test your skills for the position and your attitudes and aptitudes. And then if you succeed on that, then you go to the interview. In the interview, you have to be very careful and well prepared, because they're going to ask you questions about your experiences, but the answers you're supposed to provide have to match with the Treasury Board merit criteria. So it's long, but at the same time, it gives opportunity to all Canadians and citizens and permanent residents to pass through the same process. I pass it many times. I flunk a lot because you have to learn, you have to ace it, the process. But once you're in, you're in. Like if you're successful, you fall into a pool of qualified candidates that not only the ministry you apply for can use. Other ministry you can leverage that successful pool to apply within the government of Canada in general, in all the ministries. So it's just that, like, the government always look for transparency and opportunities for all of us.
Very good. So even though it's a lengthy process, as you said, once you're in, you're actually able to move around, to most probably change provinces if the opportunities arise. So the opportunities are there once you're in. Now you mentioned citizens and permanent residents. So both have the opportunity to work for the Canadian government. What's your advice to those newly arrivals, to those immigrants who want actually to go that route, to work for the public sector?
Be patient, because it can be overwhelming, and not only for the government. Like being in two parts of the island, private and also federal service is totally different. Like, I will recommend all my immigrants, my colleague immigrants, and my fellow immigrants, that they have to be patient. Immigration is a long process. You have to be prepared economically and above all mentally. You are not Like you are not likely to be the person you were before immigrating. So you have to be prepared for that. I think that's the main thing, because sometimes we immigrate as a professional skilled workers, and we think it's going to be like this. In some cases it happens. And God bless all the professionals that get it, especially people working in the IT world, in the information management. But it's you have to start from scratch, and like Drake said, start from the bottom. Don't be and be humble. Manage your ego. We all have egos, and manage your egos, and above all, be patient. You have to be patient. You have to learn the process, the know-how of the Canadian life, not only government, but also private sector, and stick with it and learn, and that will guarantee succeed. That you're going to succeed.
Yeah, that's for sure. That's great. What is the best website to go to if you're thinking about going into federal jobs, government-related jobs?
Jobs.gc.ca is the best way. So, and you can look for jobs there and start, get a login, get a login, and start seeing like the job posting within the federal government, and start applying and learn how to apply, because it's totally different than other institutions, as you said, and start, because it's practice make the master. When I started, I flunked a lot. Of first. I was screened out a lot because I didn't know the process. Then when I knew how to answer the questions, I didn't know how to manage the interviews, and that is a process. Like, that's why patience and persistence is very important.
Amazing. So Alex, before we close this out here, I would like you to reach out to that Spanish community out there in Spanish, send them a hello, and also invite them to follow us on the podcast and social media.
A mis hermanos latinos, hispanos en general, no desistan de buscar oportunidad donde quiera. O sea, sobre todo aquí en el gobierno federal necesitamos diversidad. Como se dice por ahí, dice nuestro primer ministro, que la diversidad es nuestra fuerza. No desistan, sigan el podcast. The button there, click it there. To follow the next, just to be aware of the next podcast that is coming up.
Alex Miranda, thank you very much for being with me today. I really appreciate it, and have a great day, man.
You too, my friend. Have a great day. This was a blast.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Until next time.
Okay. Until next time, exactly.
This was Immigrant Podcast with Robinson.